All right, thank y'all for being here. Proud of our coaches and players earning victory #1 this week over Florida A&M, and Willie's going to get that program on track. I thought they played with a lot of effort, a lot of energy. They're a young football team. Year one is tough, and got a lot of faith in him that he's going to get that program going. But it was a good win for us. I thought we made solid improvements going from week 1 to week 2 after watching it on video. Really enjoyed our letterman being back. We had a huge number of those guys back. Friday night, spending some time with that 68 team, bringing them in the locker room after the game, that was special. Hopefully that's a memory that they'll have. It was a good crowd, second really good crowd that we've had here. I thought our band did a tremendous job on Saturday night. A lot of local bands here, so I appreciate them being here. I'm just going to give you a quick kind of rundown of in all 3 phases from our point of view. Special teams, thought we were really good on our coverage units. Thought the block punt we had by Jabir Fry was huge, changed the momentum of the game, led to our first touchdown after we had started slow on offense and defense. Kickoff cover team, Bratcher Underwood was tremendous. I had 8 touchbacks out of 9 kickoff attempts. On punt, our punt team is for the second week in a row has done a great job in coverage. I think they averaged -4 yards per return on Saturday night. Punt return unit, obviously the block punt was big. And then kickoff return, I thought the first one we had 2 kickoff returns in the game. The first one we had, I thought we had a chance to take it in for a touchdown. We missed 1 block. And then the second one was really disappointing. That was the worst special teams play we had of the night. We just did not do a very good job getting on people there in the second half. Defensively, go over the negatives first and talk about the positives. Negatives, thought we had too many missed tackles. We've got to be able to tackle better than we did on Saturday. We allowed too many yards still, especially in the passing game. And then we started slow. And we got to fix that. 2 weeks in a row we've really given up big drives to start the game. A touchdown the week before, and then they missed a field goal, thankfully, in the drive this week. Positive is we forced 4 turnovers in the football game. Only allowed 7 points. Thought we were much better on third down, 2.1 yards per rush. And then we were more aggressive. We just flew around, played with a better mentality. Not still exactly what we were looking for, but I thought our mentality and our effort was much better. Offensively, again, start with the negatives. We started slow out of the gates, 3 and out to start the game, second week in a row. We got to get that fixed. We didn't connect on enough downfield throws. We've got to be better throwing the football down the field than we were on Saturday. Still allowed 3 sacks. Now, 2 of those were with our second and third teams in the game. And then third down, still not good enough there. We've been really good on fourth down so far early in the season, and we've gone for it a bunch. I think we've had 8 fourth down attempts through 2 games, which we're going to continue to be aggressive, but like to not have so many. We need to be a little better on third down. And the positives, we had 0 turnovers. I thought our running game, we did a nice job establishing that. We had over 300 yards rushing. And then, I thought our tempo over the last 2 weeks has been the best since I've been here over 4 years. So those are all positives. I'm going to kind of go over our players of the week. We'll do this every time we win a game. And these are all in-house. Sometimes they'll match conference awards, sometimes they won't. But our special teams player of the week for FAMU was Bratcher Underwood. Jabir Fry was thought about, but Bratcher was just solid. He's been solid for 2 games now. 8 touchbacks out of 9 attempts, really good. Defensively, Tryon Folsom, 2 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown, had a tackle and a half for a loss, and then 5 tackles overall, was our leading tackler in the game. Thought he played really well. Offensively, Caleb Barker, 62 yards rushing with a rushing touchdown, had 140 yards passing, 4 touchdowns passing, 5 overall. Really thought he got in there for the 6th one. We didn't have a good picture of it on review, but looking at the coach's copy, I thought he might have gotten in. Our offensive lineman of the game was Dylan Bradshaw, who played the most plays he's ever played in a game. He had the highest grade. He had communicated well. Snaps were on point. He had 3 knockdowns. Scout team players of the week, and these are critical for us. In-house, like to really recognize those guys. Their special team scout team player was Jeremiah Jones, who's a guy that has the potential to be a factor for us as we move on down the season. Offensive scout team player was Chris Robinson, a special young man, very active in the ROTC here on campus, does a great job, scout team receiver. And our defensive scout team player was Robert Johnson, who's who's really a selfless guy, has done a great job over there giving us a look, and a guy that we're proud of. Our Nathan Harris Service Award goes to the guy that does the most in our community, is Blaze Brown. He's taken part in every single community service activity we've had since school started. And then our Corey McCullough Spirit Award goes to the guy that's the best guy on the sideline during the game, and that was Jonathan Ortner, who fun guy to have in the program. But overall, convincing win. Proud to get back to 1-1. Got a great opportunity this week against Nebraska. Had the privilege of playing there one time. Didn't go the way we wanted it to go, but I think it's one of the top venues in all of college football. Some of the best fans. They're really knowledgeable. It's probably a more positive atmosphere than a lot of them here in the Southeast as far as for a visiting team. And they're one of the top football programs in all of college football historically. I think one of the top brands, I would say. So looking forward to it. Glad our coaches and staff get an opportunity to experience that. I'll talk to them briefly in the three phases. Special teams wise, they're solid. Got a very good snapper. He's a 3-year starter. Their punter and their kickoff specialist, same guy, really strong leg, big guy. Their place kicker is a true freshman from Hoover, and then they have one of the top kickoff returners in the country, wide receiver in Spillman. He's dynamic. We got to make sure we account for him. Defensively, they may be the biggest defense that I've ever played against, and that's going back in the SEC and Big 12 and all those days as well. Across the board, they're 290 plus. Across the defensive line. They don't have a linebacker that's under 230 pounds. They got a corner at 6'4". I mean, just really a big unit. Held Colorado last week to 44 yards rushing. 3 D linemen really stick out. I mean, I think they go about 9 deep that can play, that are really good. 91, 94, 96, really active. Played at a high level last week. Linebacker from Atlanta, number 7, really flies around. And then they've got a safety, the kid Neal, that transferred from Central Florida. That's kind of you can tell he's directing traffic back there. A really solid player. Offensively, great scheme. I think Scott Frost does a tremendous job putting his guys in position. They're a big physical offensive line, something that's going to be, we're going to have to do a really good job playing with technique defensive line wise, because they're really going to they're going to outweigh us in almost every position. They had over 500 yards last week against Colorado. Talented at wide receiver, and they have one of the best one of the top running backs in the country last year in junior college, the Bell kid. Martinez was dynamic. I watched I think the backup kid is, I'm not sure who's going to play. We'll follow that. We'll get ready for both. Martinez is a dynamic runner for a true freshman. I thought what he did last week was special. The backup, you're not the backup quarterback at Nebraska unless you can play. So I'm sure that if the backup has to play, he'll perform at a high level. So we've got to continue to get better. We play a great opponent, but we've got to continue to get better. I think that we have not come close to playing at our ceiling yet. So look forward to this week and going out there and playing. So with that, I'll answer questions.
Coach, talk about the intensity that your team played at. You said that's what you wanted to see after that disappointing loss. I know it wasn't executed perfectly at all times, but I really thought defensively your guys were flying to the ball and you were playing with a lot of energy early. Yeah,
I thought our energy level, Jerry, was at a much higher level. I thought, a couple things stand out. They broke one in open, and Tron Folsom and Marcus Jones had a great effort play to track a running back down when Florida A&M had a big play. I thought that was a good example. I thought our wide receivers downfield blocked at a much higher level than they did the previous week. I still think that we can probably take it up another notch. We can, what I call strain. I think we can strain a little bit more. But I thought our energy level was better. Our sideline was better. I thought we played with more confidence than maybe a week ago. So those were all positives.
You mentioned last week having to dwindle down the running backs. So many running backs getting so many carries. How do you think they did this week? And you mentioned a little bit over 300 yards on the ground.
Yeah, I thought that after going back and looking at it, I thought up front we did a good job covering them up. They did a lot of movement. They were a really undersized, quick unit. Sometimes those guys are harder to block than big guys. I thought Jabir Fry did a good job in the open field. I thought he needs to be a little bit more patient still. BJ was much improved. He was the guy I thought he would be. That's who, how he played the other night was really how he'd shown in fall camp. So that was positive. And Caleb and Sawyer both did some positive things in the run game as well. And then DK came in the second half and provided some positive runs.
The win last year at LSU,
Mm-hmm.
does it change maybe your approach or how you view when you have a game like a Nebraska? Right?
I think it probably changes our opponent's view of who we are. I honestly, it really doesn't. I felt like we've already played one really high level opponent this year in Boise State. I think they're one of the top 10, 12 teams in the country. This is going to be our second really high level opponent in 3 weeks. Another challenge for sure. We go on the road for the first time. I think it probably changes from Nebraska's perspective. Not their coaches would have them ready regardless if we beat LSU or not, but I think their players' perspective of who Troy is probably different because they can go in a team meeting and say, hey, this bunch is for real. They beat LSU last year at LSU, and that'll perk some of their guys' ears up. But from our approach, no. I think there's probably confidence, but our guys had confidence in the past as well. So I don't think from our point of view it probably changes much.
Yeah, you have an early kick. You guys do any preparations during fall camp for an 11 o'clock kick?
Yeah, we practice every day in fall camp. That we're on a normal schedule at 9 a.m. I'm all for them. I'd play every game at 11 a.m. I'll be home by 7 if flight goes well, so I'm for it. But no, it's you have to. I think you have to prepare for that. It's not natural, For I think if you went and walked on campus, if a lot of these people that don't have 9 or 10 a.m. classes aren't up by 11, and our players aren't any different. We had an off day yesterday, and the guys that didn't go to church, they probably were still asleep at 11, and so I think you have to prepare for it. We practiced in fall camp at 9 a.m. We may have one early morning practice. That's something that we're going to talk about as a staff, just because I looked at the forecast earlier this morning, and it looks like we're going to have some afternoon storms on Tuesday or Wednesday, so we may look at going early in the morning one day this week just to kind of give our guys an experience. Just because the thing about it is you get up and you have to be ready to play. There's not that lull like when you play an afternoon 3:30, 2:30, 3 o'clock game or an evening game where you get up 8:30, 9 o'clock, you're able to have a meal, you have a walkthrough, then you have some dead time. This time it's you get up, you eat, you have a quick walkthrough, and then it's time to go to the stadium and get ready. So I do think you have to pay attention to it. I do think you have to prepare for it. I don't think it'll be a factor in the game, and I believe our guys, they've handled those early mornings before, and I think they'll do it again.
Coach, you've been through the process of taking over a program and trying to put your stamp on it, getting things done the way that you want to. Can you speak to what that process is and what Coach Frost must be going through now as he's doing that same thing at Nebraska?
Yeah, I think they've got pieces in place. I think they've got, and I've watched him talk in the preseason. They've got some quality players there. They've got some big physical guys on both fronts. They've got talent at wide receiver. The Martinez kid who he recruited, they've got some talented pieces there. I think he's proven at every stop of his coaching career that he's capable of what he's capable of doing. I think his background's really unique, and I think it speaks to his ability as a coach. The fact that he was a highly successful defensive coordinator at Northern Iowa, the fact that he played quarterback, then transitioned, played some safety in the NFL, and then was the offense coordinator at Oregon before being the head coach of Central Florida. Really diverse background, and somebody that, being from Nebraska, a lot of pride in that program. I thought they played extremely hard last week, and I know that we're going to face a really hungry team, Jerry, when we get up there, especially after last week's outcome. They're looking to not only get the first win of the season, but also first win of his coaching tenure there at Nebraska. There's going to be a lot of emotions from their side.
Just like the Boise game, this game isn't one that's going to make or break the season for your guys' goals, but kind of what's the mindset going up into this game, and kind of what are your expectations for this matchup?
Really my whole focus is, we want to win the game, and we're playing the game to win, but we've got to continue to get better. And that was my message to the staff last week, is we just got to get better. You know, we've got to, you know, the way our season starts out is, you know, we basically play, I think, 7 games in a row. If I'm not, is it 7 or 6, Adam? I think it's 7. I think it's 7 in a row before we get a break, and the 7th one's on a short week. So, you know, it's a really challenging early season schedule. And we've got to continue to make progress this week. We've got to make positive improvements this week, and keep getting better all the way to Saturday. And then we've got to make sure that we play good fundamental football. If we do that, I think we'll have an opportunity. But they're a high-level opponent. You know, they provide some major challenges for us on both sides of the offense and defensive lines. Okay. Good deal. Thank y'all.